What's up, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes delivering Jonathan Martinez to you guys. He just signed on to fight the great Jose Aldo at UFC 301 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Jonathan, are you guys the co-main event? Have they told you guys yet?
Yes, we're the co-main event.
Okay, all right. Do you like the way this kind of came together? Were you looking for another name? I mean, this is a huge fight. Don't get me wrong, but this came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I would never thought I was gonna fight Jose Aldo, but it's a big name, and yeah, I'll be ready for it.
And obviously he's a legend. We're not going to take anything away from that. And you're on an incredible streak. But does this get you closer to the title? I guess is another thing. Like that's you are fighting a legend, but does this keep you kind of, up there with the other top dogs, which I'm sure you want to get to?
Yeah, I feel like it'll help me a lot just because he's a big name, and and it's a win with him, a win, is gonna open a lot of doors. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, it sure will. What about the fact that you're going to be the biggest enemy, the biggest heel on that night? I mean, this guy's the king of Rio. They love him down there, and the fans are passionate. Do you think that's something you'll actually be able to thrive on, being able to either win the crowd over or maybe just give them the old, shh, like how do you feel about that?
Honestly, honestly ready for the booze just because I've been fighting in the Apex for a long time, and hearing booze is to me it's gonna feel like they're cheering for me. So I think either way.
Okay.
And some of the skins that you've had on your wall, when we were going through it the other day, a lot of those names you could say have kind of in preparation for a guy like Jose Aldo. Is there anybody that you can point to on that list that shares some similarities that you think will help you in this fight?
Um, yeah. Sorry, can you say it again? Sorry.
The skins on your wall, some of those fighters, they share some of the skill sets that Jose Aldo has. Can you maybe point to one that you feel like has helped you prepare to get to this point to fight a guy like Jose Aldo?
Um, it's helped me, and then here at the gym too at Factory X, we have a lot of guys that they fight similar as him, and so I have a lot of bodies in here that will help me get ready for that fight. So,
One thing that stands out for us when we think of you two are the leg kicks, right? Like that's going to be nasty between the two of you. Do you feel like Jose's maybe shied away from leg kicks in the last few, but do you feel like you could finish a legend who is known for leg kicks with his own weapon?
mm, I don't really like to say much. Just go with the flow. If it comes, and maybe might not even kick. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you never know what happens.
In a way, is it almost like a race to see who does it first?
Uh, a little bit, but not really because his boxing's really good. So I can't just go in and just start kicking. Because he's really explosive and stuff.
What did you think of his run in boxing? It was pretty decent what he did, but it's a completely different sport, and some people say it is a little difficult to come back and get that timing for mixed martial arts down, all that stuff. Do you think that will have any effect on a guy like Jose Aldo?
I don't know. Honestly, I haven't really seen none of his boxing matches. I didn't even know he was boxing until a week ago when I got the fight. I started looking it up, but yeah, I haven't really watched none of his boxing. But yeah, sometimes it will mess you up. But knowing Jose, he's always good at everything he does. So
A win here, if we look at the calendar, trying to figure out, do you think after this, would you want to like capitalize on that momentum? Would you try and get two more by the end of the year, one more? What do you think is feasible for you?
I like to stay active. So hopefully two more. That's always my goal to get 3 fights in a year. So don't like I know some guys fight once a year, but I like to stay active.
I want to go back to the leg kicks because it's quite the weapon that you have. And obviously he had it at one point. Tell us something about it. Like when let's say you throw 10 leg kicks, how many of those land how you like it? And how many of those actually cause harm to you or you feel it a little bit too?
Mm, I don't even just work on them all the time. I don't really Doesn't really hurt that much. Not to the fight, yeah, it does.
At one point, he stopped throwing them because it really used to mess up his feet. And how about you? Have you encountered that yet, or do you feel like you maybe are better at it? Which obviously we know you throw with the shin, but some of them don't land the way you do. So have you gotten to that point where it can be a little frustrating because then you got to go through the recovery process?
No, if I hurt my legs, I think my only 3 4 days. I guess like a regular fight when someone hurts your legs, but it's not as bad as I seen his legs, and I guess his style is more Muay Thai guy, a traditional Muay Thai guy, and mine I'm mix my Muay Thai with my Taekwondo, so it's kind of different in a way.
Did anyone inspire you to throw leg kicks? Maybe Jose himself, or was there another fighter where you're like, oh, okay, I want to do that?
Not kicking, not really. I just started doing it. I used to play soccer. I used to play soccer a lot. I used to be I'm a big fan of GSP. That's why I wanted to do it. But he never throw kicks. So
Yeah. Were you pretty good at soccer? What position did you play? I'm just curious.
I was a delantero. I don't know how to say that in English.
Forward.
Forward?
Yes.
Like were you kind of like running down the wing and scoring from that position, or were you kind of like a center, like a striker, right in the middle?
I was on the left side. In the left side. Yeah, I
Okay.
wasn't in the
Is there
middle.
is there any soccer player that you were a fan of? Because we're soccer fans as well, so I'm just curious if how much you followed it.
So I really didn't follow. I used to play it all the time. I really didn't like. I wasn't really a big watching it, but I played this since I was 5 years old all the way till when I was 12. So
And then is that go ahead.
my son, well, he's 6 years old, but he trains a lot. Like he trains it. He's had a lot of a little pancration fights in jiu-jitsu tournament, but he's a really big fan of soccer. Like he tells me all these names, and I'm like, who is this? I remember he's one of his favorite soccer players. His name is Mbappe. I don't know how to say it.
Mbappe.
Mbappe,
Yeah,
Kylian Mbappe.
he'll tell me, he's like, you're saying it wrong, Dad. And he was like, and then he's like, oh, you're fighting in Brazil. There's a really good soccer player. He told me his name, and I was like, oh, I don't know who that is. But he was all
Yeah.
telling me like, you need to go see him, and I was like, I don't know who that is, son. But yeah, he's
Is he
into
gonna go
that.
with you to Brazil?
No, no, he's not gonna go, but he'll watch me.
I'll tell you this, Jonathan. I mean, I don't want to pry in your business. Is it because you just don't want to take him, or is it expensive, or he's in school? Like,
It's because he's in school, because we already kind of take him a lot because he does a lot of tournaments. So he does a lot
mhm.
of competition. His age, they're in the cage, but they can't hit in the face. So it's just from here down. And he's 7, and he already had about 12 already, and he's won them all.
Wow.
He just lost his first fight, and so we take him out like a Friday to go in, and then Saturday, he fights. But we've been taking him a lot, so I can't take him out for a whole week because then I might get in trouble.
Gotcha. The reason I brought it up is because if you could somehow squeeze in a soccer game in Brazil, it is a crazy experience. I mean, they are fanatics over there when it comes to that sport.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Maybe one day
Something
I'll
to
take
think
him.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's bringing home some good grades and you can somehow make it happen, make sure you squeeze in a soccer. You know, like when if you get, are you going to get there early, or are you going to fly on a Tuesday like normal?
I think Tuesday.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I was going to say, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it fits in the schedule or maybe after the fight or whatever, but it's quite the experience. I've been there a lot, so that was one of my favorite trips every time. One of my favorite things to do every time I went. But hey, listen, man, this is a great fight. We're all pumped up for it. You know, you've won your last 6. You got the thing going on with the leg kicks. Your team's on fire as well. So you got to be feeling pretty good about yourself going into this battle because that's a legendary team. You know, you're fighting Jose Aldo, Nova Uniao, and then Andre Pederneiras is a pretty legendary coach as well. But you know, obviously where you guys are at, you guys are killing it too.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I feel I'll be real ready when it comes that day. So just I've been at the gym. I'm always training. I'm always training hard. But this fight just excites me. I want to be in there and then show that I belong there with big guys and show them, he had his time, and now it's my turn.
Hey, Jonathan, last one from me. How important is going to be the first time that you see him face to face, maybe in the stare down or whatever? The only reason I bring this up is because we've interviewed a lot of fighters throughout our history, and some of them will say it didn't seem like it would be something that would get into my head until I got into their face and I went, "Holy crap, that's Vanderlei Silva! Oh my God, that's Chuck Liddell." Do you think you'll ever have that moment, like, "Holy crap, that's Jose Aldo"? Like, is that something
Mm,
kind of that you can get out of the way early?
not, yeah, not really. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna affect me because I used to be a real big fan of Tomas Almeida, and I fought him. And then Cub Swansea, I was a real big fan of him. I used to watch Cub Swansea's videos because it would motivate me in training. So I used to watch it all the time. But when I met him there and that, it's like a regular person. I didn't think nothing until after the fight.
One last thing I was going to ask was we had heard that at some point, what do we got here?
Chris Gutierrez.
Oh, okay. At one point, the Jose Aldo was going to fight Dominic Cruz, kind of like two WEC legends going at it. Obviously, that didn't happen, but did you hear anything? Like, did you ever get involved with a possible fight with Dominic Cruz before it became Aldo, or what else did you have kind of cooking before it settled on this fight?
Well, I've been wanting Dominic Cruz. I don't know how many times I called him out. So I guess he don't want to fight. So to me, I feel he should just retired already. But yeah, when this matchup came up, I was excited about it.
Could you ever drop to 125 the way Jose dropped from 145 to 135? I mean, he looked pretty chiseled. No one thought he could do it, but has that ever gone through your head?
Oh no, I used to fight at 125. I had 9 pro fights at 125.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
But
never
in
again.
the UFC, it ain't happening.
No, since when I made my debut in the UFC, I made it short notice, but I was getting ready to fight for the 125 belt and
Yeah.
legacy. But yeah, I will never go back down. I can't. I'm too big for that.
Plus, you kind of look like Brandon Royval, so there's no sense in getting everyone mixed up, right?
Oh yeah, it's crazy because they still do that right now.
That's funny, man. Hey, thanks for the time today. We really appreciate it. It looks like maybe we caught you mid-practice, so we'll let you get back to that. But we're really pumped up for this fight in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, the co-main event of Jonathan Martinez and Jose Aldo. Folks, you got to tune in. It's a pay-per-view. Thank you, Jonathan. Take care, brother.
Thank you.